Man, right here we got Freakio in full effect. Academics react to the Fed's press conference on Diddy indictment and charges.
Area for a press conference outside of a Manhattan. I think this is a hotel right here. It's a hotel. Let me zoom in. I don't know what. Nah, it looks like an apartment building, right? Or maybe some. Is this a federal building? I don't know if it's a federal. Actually, it is a federal building. I think it is a federal building. Never mind. It's not no apartment building. So I think that is the federal building. Earlier, King Combs and Justin Combs and Quincy Combs were seen showing up to the supposed very quick initial appearance that Diddy got read his charges. I'm not too sure they're putting a plea. We do have an indictment. The indictment, it's kind of bare bones, 14 pages. It accuses Diddy of many different things, but physical violence, extortion, arson, kidnapping, sexual assault, sexual abuse. A lot of interesting things to note. We don't see any co-conspirators. We don't see any other people charged. Doesn't mean that might not come later. No victims are actually named. So it's really a skeleton, bare bones indictment, just kind of letting you know we're putting this guy in cuffs. We're probably going to find out more, as time goes along. Who else is going to be indicted as well, and possible who are the main witnesses or victims that the prosecutor hinged this whole indictment and this case on. So, we'll obviously they're setting up the microphones. As we see Entertainment News, the AP. We're actually streaming it directly from the AP's channel. Associated Press. Fox 5 is out there. A bunch of outlets. They are all ready. Okay? I'm going to put this over on the side. We'll do a recap of, his homegoing ceremony, okay? TMZ did have a video of the Suns leaving and entering the courtroom today. This is a video of the Suns.
Good spirits? Justin? King Combs? King, how you doing this morning? How's it going, Justin? Quincy, how you feeling this morning? How the twins?
As you can see, they walked out pretty much from youngest to oldest, right? You seen Christian, then you shortly seen Prince, or they call him, his name is Prince JDC on Instagram, but that's Justin Combs right here. And also Quincy Combs. Now, remember I also speculated last night, will any of the Suns be possibly indicted? Well, it's clear at this point they're not indicted, and it doesn't mean that they won't, but they're at least free men to go and watch their father's initial appearance, right? We did get a lot more information, and I'll play that next. Again, we have the full indictment. We're going to get into it. It's about 15 minutes until we hear from the U.S. attorney. His sons are free. They showed up to this initial appearance. His lawyer spoke, though. I'm going to be honest with you. His lawyer was super transparent. Not even too sure why he would need to be that transparent with the media. But essentially admitted that, hey, did he move to New York because of a coordinated effort, knowing that these charges were coming down probably soon. And they even discussed with the U.S. Attorney Office to say, hey, we're down to turn ourselves in. We're going to work with y'all. And obviously, these are signs of good faith actions that are going to play in part to a, what do you call it again? To a bail hearing. We don't know about the bail application status at this point. We're probably going to hear about that. Okay? I'm not talking about Diddy for 10 hours, but what I'm saying is that, like, we're probably going to give this 4 or 5 hours, okay? But then I'm going to still try to do a regular stream. We kind of did that last night too, okay? This is obviously a breaking news. We've covered so much around it. Makes no sense we half-ass this when it actually happens, okay? For the people who, like, again, I want to see justice get served. I'm indifferent to whatever, thoughts you guys might have, whether you think I'm against Diddy or pro Diddy. I'm just reporting what I see. I'm going to try to very much keep what I've heard about him or my experience with him out of it. Because again, it doesn't fucking matter. Once we are at the point where we're now in a court proceeding, it's gonna be what could be proven, right? Obviously, there's victims all over the place, but now we get to see it in a court of law. All right. So yes, so this is noticeably, which you could imagine, there's no more smiles. You know, they were dancing, doing all the shenanigans in the last couple of weeks, and I'm wondering how that conversation is. So I'm guessing Diddy must have told his sons, yo, check this out. I'm probably gonna get taken in. Hopefully, I get bail. I'm still trying to listen to my lawyers by acting like, you know, everything's good. I'm not panicking. Let's all go to New York until whenever I got to turn myself in, and let's try to be normal, right? Because all of them have been in New York. Like, you know, Quincy, like, I think Quincy lives on the West Coast, but he was in New York. Here's what the lawyer says, right? So this is Diddy's lawyer. His name is Mark Agnifilo, or am I saying it wrong? Mark Agnifilo. Okay, I think I got that correct. Now, importantly last night, he made some comments even before he got to court. Hold on. He had made a comment even before he got to court. Give me a second. Yeah, which again, this lawyer is pretty, you know, transparent with the public, which I don't think he needs to be. Like, his only concern is clearly Diddy. By the way, the U.S. attorney's name is Damian Williams. But he did say this. This is last night before he got to court, right? He put out a statement. He says, he gave a statement to TMZ. I'm always weary about lawyers who are trying to talk to the press before talking to the prosecutors. That's a problem. But you know Diddy's getting the best of the best. He's not getting some run-of-the-mill. He's not getting Max B's lawyer. No disrespect to that dude. So we are disappointed with the decision to pursue what we believe is an unjust prosecution of Mr. Combs by the U.S. Attorney's Office. Sean Diddy Combs is a music icon, self-made entrepreneur, loving family man, and a proven philanthropist who spent the last 30 years building an empire, adoring his children, and working to uplift the black community. He also added, he's an imperfect person, but not a criminal. To his credit, Diddy has been nothing but cooperative. That's going to be very important with this investigation, and he voluntarily relocated to New York last week in anticipation of these charges. Please reserve your judgment until you have all the facts. These are acts of an innocent man with nothing to hide, and he looks forward to clearing his name in court. I will say, everything he's doing, like on a optic level, obviously him addressing that Cassie video, like the Cassie video, you're guilty, my nigga. Like, there's no presumption of innocence there. But all of his other actions do seem cooperative and do seem like he's trying to face these charges, right? Again, I won't say it's a you know, it means he's clearly innocent, but clearly, you know, he's not trying to run, duck, hide, or, you know, blatantly going on a PR campaign trying to, you know, convince people that he's innocent. Look like he's trying to have his day in court. Here's the lawyer, and the lawyer spoke this morning before going into court.
That planned?
No, it's not planned. Certainly, it's not planned by us. I mean, he came here to surrender at a time agreeable to the U.S. Attorney's Office, and then they arrested him last night. I spent the evening with him. I was with him until about 1 o'clock. His spirits are good. He's confident. He is dealing with this head on, the way he's dealt with every challenge in his life. And he's not guilty. He's innocent of these charges. We know what the charges are going to be without seeing the indictment. It's going to be racketeering. It's going to be sex trafficking. It's going to be things along those lines. This is what we've been expecting since the searches in March. He, to his great credit, he voluntarily came to New York. Not a lot of defendants do that. He came to New York to basically engage the court system and start the case, and it'll start today. And he's going to plead not guilty, obviously. He's going to fight this with all of his energy and all of his might and the full confidence of his lawyers. And I expect a long battle with a good result for Mr. Combs.
Do you think he'll be released?
I'm going to fight like hell to get him released, and he should be released with all that he's done and coming here voluntarily. And guys, I'm going to cut it short because I have to go in. All right. So thank you all very much. And
all right. So, you know, the lawyer, you know, and I would imagine that the lawyer speaking to the public, putting out a statement via TMZ. If you're wondering, I apologize if my voice sounds odd or stressed at times. Okay. All right. So that was the lawyer. By the way, again, we are waiting on, you know, the press conference to start. It's scheduled to start at 11:30. This is outside the federal building. the federal courthouse in Manhattan. And here is where you see, obviously, these federal security guards and, okay, actually, yeah. Oh, so I thought it was going to be outside at the same time. Oh, wow. Here we go. Here we go, people. Once again, I do have the indictment that I'll get into afterwards. I'll actually give you a brief preview of that on the screen now. And, again, not to give you all a little bit of foreplay, no Diddy, but I'll show you some of the things that they've mentioned in there. In this indictment, they gave him racketeering, and under racketeering, they have a bunch of things, right? Obviously, they mentioned the freak-offs, but what we're gonna see is, here we go. So this is how they describe the racketeering conspiracy. We're gonna read through this line by line, okay? Again, we're waiting for this to start. They haven't officially started yet. Again, this is going to start in 7 minutes, supposedly. But look at these acts. These are things they're going to have to prove. Multiple acts, including kidnapping, arson, bribery, which, by the way, they're saying some of these things happen in different places as well. Okay, bribery, witness tampering.
Damn, Diddy.
What else was? Forced labor, sex trafficking. Also, another charge or another act of, the RICO statute by saying he was relating to transport and inducement to travel for purposes of prostitution and other illegal activities. Again, remember I said last night about drug charges? Yep, we got them. Drug charges, multiple offenses involving possession with intent to distribute of narcotics. They list a bunch of these substances. Some you might know, some you might not. Obviously, cocaine, oxycodone, or oxycontin, as some people say, and some of these other drugs. I probably got to Google them, but ketamine, and what the fuck is hydroxybutyric acid? Wow, that don't sound too safe. Okay, cool. Again, it doesn't name anybody else. It names that people in the organization were involved in a criminal activity, but they're not named in this indictment, in the initial indictment, and they're actually just not, indicted, at least on this case file. So maybe they get indicted on a superseding indictment, or I don't know if this is possible. I got to speak to an attorney. Maybe I'm gonna get Bradford Cohen or somebody on here who's a real expert to break it down for y'all. Shit, maybe all the people in the organization flipped on him. They already talked to the feds like, we gave this nigga up. Like, Diddy gotta go. So again, we'll get into that. Another interesting thing before the proceedings start is that, give me one second. Will we also find out the details of the raid, supposedly? Remember the raid that happened on his property back in March? They're saying they found 1,000. Like, listen to this shit right here. They said the indictment references, so I'm guessing it's in the indictment. We're going to read it eventually. References what was seized during the raids at Diddy's homes in Beverly Hills and Miami. Various freak-off supplies. Imagine having a freak-off toolkit, my nigga. This is crazy. Include narcotics, little party drugs, more than 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant. They seized firearms, including 3 AR-15s with the face serial numbers and a drum magazine. Yeah, that's kind of crazy, right? Wow. You know what was interesting? Nigga, they said they found the freak-off supplies. Mad drugs, mad baby oil and lubricant. We heard they didn't find one condom. How is this possible, my nigga? They found everything but the condoms. What type of shit is this? Nigga, they found 1,000 bottles of baby oil and not one lambskin latex condom. This shit is crazy. Oh, man. Watch, they're going to be like, yeah, we found mad honey packs. We found some rhino pills. We found some this. They didn't find one condom in the whole house. This is crazy. Anyway, we are waiting, chat. We're waiting. It looks like they're starting to set up. Now, here's what's interesting. I let it play.
7-6. You just came in from the left. Are you okay? Okay. Thank you.
By the way, we see a whiteboard here. Sometimes they'll use that. Hold on. They'll use that to like map out a conspiracy. We'll see. Wow. I'll shut up. We'll watch it. Of course I spilled my liquor. Jesus Christ.
Oh, okay.
That nigga act drinking Don Julio. That nigga act a fool,
Here's
bro.
where we're about to start. Okay, while we do wait. Oh, never mind. It looks like we're gonna start. Maybe not. Okay, real quick while we wait. It's important, you know, I'm gonna look this guy up as well. So Damian Williams, so he's the U.S. attorney. He's the Fonnie Willis in this case. Damian Williams, U.S. attorney. So let's look this guy up. Okay, all right, black man, I see you. All right, so we can't be like the white man trying to get Diddy down. It's definitely a black U.S. attorney. This guy right here. He's the guy who we'll see talk shortly. But he's the one who signed the bottom of the make sure I'm not listening to this. Oh shit! Never mind. Look. Oh, here they go. Here they go. Where's the baby oil? Show me the baby oil. Johnson & Johnson stock going up. Invest in Johnson & Johnson. I'm not no financial advisor, but god damn it. Oh, these were the guns. Why wouldn't Diddy just have legal guns? Apparently these were defaced. You know, a gun is illegal. As soon as you deface the serial number, it's a legal gun. You know what I'm saying? And usually it's probably not a legally obtained gun.
God damn, look at
because that's why you're defacing the serial number, right?
Jesus. You do not gotta do all that to take a picture. Calm down. Like, she extra. Man, my God. Trying to seem important as hell.
Wow.
I'm gonna be honest with you. This isn't that shocking as it is. Diddy has a few rifles.
That's what I'm saying.
It's about 2 minutes.
What the fuck?
If you have any questions about presentment, I'll come back out and we'll go over timing and give you a few updates. Thanks.
And I could probably quickly, I don't want to miss anything at all. If they start talking, let me switch immediately back. Do they have weapons? I want to see if that's part of it. No, they found weapons in the face, so they could just add it on, right? Do they have firearms? Probably sure there's going to be some firearms somewhere in this. We'll read through it. Here we go. These are rifles that have been clearly disassembled. Not too sure if this is how they found it or the feds disassembled it. But there's a drum magazine. Clearly a rifle. You can see these are 223 or 5.56. Oh, here we go. Here we go.
2, 3, 5, 6. Act a fool, bro. That nigga act my nigga, dog. My nigga said 2, 2, 3, 5, 5, 5, 6.
I'm not going off just this to say he's done. None of the crimes, at least that we know, did he put guns to the women's head, right? So we want to see the condoms or lack of condoms. We want to see the baby oil. We want to see the fucking the fucking stiff sheets that's just soaked in the freak off cum. Pause. Here's the U.S. attorney, as I said.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Damian Williams, and I'm the U.S. Attorney here in the Southern District of New York. Today I'm announcing the unsealing of a 3-count indictment, charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution. The indictment alleges that between at least 2008 and the present,
I be putting these on my desk. I got so much weed stickers on my desk.
Victims to fulfill his sexual desires,
Gotta find somewhere to put
protect his
this one.
reputation, and conceal his conduct. As alleged in the indictment, to carry out this conduct, Sean Combs led and participated in a racketeering conspiracy that used the business empire he controlled to carry out criminal activity, including sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and the obstruction of justice. Let me say a little bit more about the charges.
Why did I bring that
The
kitchen
indictment
chair?
alleges that Combs abused and
I thought I was
exploited
gonna need
women
that.
and other people for years, and in a variety of ways. As alleged, Combs used force, threats of force, and coercion to cause victims to engage in extended sexual performances with male commercial sex workers, some of whom he transported or caused to be transported over state lines. Combs allegedly planned and controlled the sex performances, which he called freak-offs, and he often electronically recorded them.
Who named them? Who named them freak-offs? Who started saying that?
Whoa.
The freak-offs sometimes lasted days at a time, involved multiple commercial sex workers, and often involved a variety of narcotics, such as ketamine, ecstasy, and GHB, which Combs distributed to the victims to keep them obedient and compliant. As alleged, when Combs didn't get his way, he was violent, and he subjected victims to physical, emotional, and verbal abuse so that they would participate in the freak-offs, and that Combs hit, kicked, threw objects at, and dragged victims, at times by their hair. On one occasion in March of 2016, that conduct was captured on video and later reported in the media.
That's the
Specifically, Combs kicked, dragged, and threw a vase at a victim in a Los Angeles hotel when the victim was attempting to flee.
Oh my
As alleged, these assaults often resulted in injuries to the victims, which took days or weeks to heal.
Damn.
In addition to the violence, the indictment alleges that Combs threatened and coerced victims to get them to participate in the
I
freak-offs.
should have did the mother's milk.
He used the embarrassing and sensitive recordings he made of the freak-offs as collateral against the victims. And the indictment alleges that he maintained control over the victims in several ways, including by giving them drugs, by giving and threatening to take away financial support or housing, by promising them career opportunities, by monitoring their whereabouts, and even by dictating their physical appearance. Because of all of this, the indictment alleges that the victims did not believe they could refuse Combs without risking their security.
They're describing Cassie a lot. They're describing Cassie a lot.
The indictment also alleges other acts of violence undertaken by Combs and others, including violence against witnesses to his abuse, kidnapping, and arson. The indictment alleges that on more than one occasion, Combs carried or brandished firearms to intimidate and threaten victims and witnesses. Now, Combs did not do this all on his own. As I mentioned, Combs has been charged with RICO conspiracy. He used his business and employees of that business and other close associates.
Damn. One of the whatchamacallit niggas just stepped down. Kevin Lau, one of them niggas, he the CEO of the music company. I forgot what music company it was, but he just stepped down. Damn.
To get his way. Those individuals allegedly included high-ranking supervisors in the business, personal assistants, security staff, and household staff.
Burn down the ground, like take some shit of people with them. You think that's the best thing to do, or go out back this light up, goddamn, or goddamn be a man and just go down and do what it do? But shit, daddy, damn.
The indictment alleges that those individuals facilitated the freak-offs. They booked the hotel rooms and stocked them with the supplies, including drugs, baby oil, personal lubricant.
He said drugs, baby oil,
extra linens, and lighting. When the hotel rooms got damaged, they helped clean it up. They arranged for victims and commercial sex workers to travel for the freak-offs, and they delivered large quantities of cash to Combs to pay for the commercial sex workers. The indictment also alleges that they helped Combs cover up his crimes. During the March 2016 incident at the LA hotel that I mentioned earlier, a member of the hotel security staff intervened, and Combs attempted to bribe the staff member with a stack of cash to make sure that what happened was kept quiet. And as the indictment alleges, in late 2023, Combs' crimes, he and others pressured witnesses and victims to stay silent, including by making phone calls to witnesses and victims.
Oh, shit.
And as alleged, Combs used others to help conceal his abuse by monitoring and preventing victims from leaving a location.
I'm gonna have to edit that bitch on my phone too.
Or by locating.
It'll be my first video editing on my phone.
Who had attempted to flee.
Sounds like Cassie.
As part of this investigation, in March of this year, special agents from HSI.
They talking about the Cassie shit. They just making it sound good. I mean, it sound bad, but they using the Cassidy incident to explain the whole thing. Like, it just sound like he talking about Cassie, like stalking them. Sound like the Aunt Glizzy incident when he followed her to the studio and put Wale out the window. The hotels and shit. It's just shit that we seen. They just putting that extra sauce on that bit.
Executed search warrants at Combs' residences in Miami and Los Angeles. They also executed a warrant for Combs' electronic devices. During those searches, agents seized evidence of the crimes charged in this indictment. They seized firearms and ammunition, including 3 defaced AR-15s and a large capacity drum magazine. They also seized evidence of the freak-offs.
Niggas say Meek Mill's a victim. Why the fuck he had all that shit in the house? Nah, Diddy. Nigga, you had all that shit in your house, bro? This ready to be the biggest freakio. Damn, back in the 90s. This shit ready to expose the 90s and shit. Of the music industry. Damn, niggas is going down. Jay-Z, man, I'm telling you, bro. Beyonce, she a whole victim.
Electronic devices that contain images and videos of the freak-offs with multiple victims. And they seized cases and cases of the kinds of personal lubricant and baby oil that Combs' staff allegedly used to stock hotel rooms for the freak-offs. More than 1,000 bottles altogether.
Johnson.
KY stock going up.
Here are some of the items that we recovered during the searches. As you can see here, this is a drum magazine, large capacity, and it contains, I believe, 59 rounds. I mentioned as well that we recovered 3 AR-15s. This is a close-up shot of one of the AR-15s, and you can see right here, the serial number has been thoroughly defaced. Another picture of more ammunition and parts of 2 AR-15s right there. Now, I want to be clear about 2 things.
What other shit at?
This office is determined to investigate and prosecute anyone who engages in sex trafficking, no matter how powerful or wealthy or famous you may be. No one should doubt our commitment on that. A year ago, Sean Combs stood in Times Square and was handed a key to New York City. Today, he's been indicted and will face justice in the Southern District of New York. Second, we are not done. This investigation is ongoing, and I encourage anyone with information about this case to come forward and to do it quickly.
Bursting with flavors.
Anyone with information can call 1-877-4HSI-TIP. I want to express my deep appreciation for the victims and witnesses who have used their voices and helped bring this criminal conduct to light. We would not be here without them. I also want to thank the dedicated case agents on the HSI Trafficking in Person Squad in New York. They have been with us since day one and have worked tirelessly on this investigation. They will continue to be invaluable partners to us. I also want to thank the incredible agents and analysts from SCNY who have also provided tremendous assistance on this case. I'm deeply grateful for their continued work. And finally, I want to thank the outstanding career prosecutors from SCNY who are handling this case. Meredith Foster, Emily Johnson, Chrissy Slavic, Madison Smeisler, and Mitzi Steiner, and their supervisors, Jamie Backleiter and Jacqueline Kelly.
Remember all those
They
names?
are members of the Civil Rights Unit in our criminal division.
Remember those names?
We created the Civil Rights Unit when I became U.S. Attorney. I'm deeply proud of their work on this and so many other cases. I'll now take some questions.
Eric Katursky, ABC.
Thanks, Damian, thanks. The indictment describes aggressive, open, violent, hedonist.
Yo, chat. All the prosecutors are white women. Diddy's cook, chat. If these are the prosecutors, Diddy's fucking fried.
How many women were victimized by Sean Combs?
All
and
white
how
women.
many
So
others were involved?
Look, our investigation is ongoing. We are committed to bringing justice to everyone who's been victimized by the defendant. I can't tell you why it took so long. I think the better focus is on the fact that we are here today. And we are committed to making sure that justice is done.
The sad thing about this shit, bro.
Thank you. Julia Ainsley, NBC.
They about to beat this shit.
Thank you for doing this. You said we are not done and that Combs did not do this alone. Do you foresee that there could be other charges related to this case?
That's the
I'm not
fucked
taking
up
anything off the table.
Calm down on the Julio act. Jesus. Bro, probably, nah, I can't talk. My lungs burnt out, but his liver is burnt. Bro, I can just use my fingers right now.
What's the difference between the sex trafficking and promoting travel for the purpose of prostitution?
Well, there are different crimes with different elements. I don't think we should get into the nitty-gritty of the legal discussion right now, but the sex trafficking, we believe, they're all serious offenses, but the sex trafficking conduct carries some significant penalties, and we are gratified that we were able to bring that charge.
One more coercive than the other?
Good afternoon, Darla Miles, ABC7 New York. Thank you for this press conference and for the details. 2 questions. In context of this indictment and the information that was presented to the grand jury, are you able to clarify the number of victims? And secondly, can you provide details about the alleged arson?
Unfortunately, I'm not able to provide either. The number of victims, you are correct. We are intentional in saying multiple. The details of the arson incident are limited to what we have in the indictment and also the detention letter that we filed.
When the young niggas crash, they total loss on that motherfucker.
The indictment does at various points, but we don't have anything more beyond that. Next question.
Lynn Tran, CNN.
Are any of his accomplices or associates under investigation? And additionally, could he face any more charges?
So the investigation is ongoing. That means both as to him and to anyone else who we believe committed the crime with him. Next question.
Juliet Papa.
Hi, good morning from 1010 Wins. Any indication that some of the women or victims here were imprisoned in his residences, and did he have locations where he kept them, and were not allowed to leave? And also, he's indicted here, although there were searches and raids in LA, Miami. Why in New York?
Well, I'm biased. I'm the U.S. Attorney in the Southern District of New York. I think that we have an outstanding track record of bringing some of the most impactful, sprawling, complex, difficult sex trafficking, human trafficking, labor trafficking, you name it. The Southern District of New York can do it, and so we're very proud of that. And so the scope and complexity of this investigation isn't something that we ran from. It's something that we embrace, and we will continue to do that. As to your question about whether he imprisoned anyone, all I can say is that, I mentioned this March 2016 incident where something was caught on video where a victim was attempting to flee, and there was violence that was associated with it.
Was that at the residence or a hotel?
That was at a hotel.
Matthew Lee, Inner City Press.
Thanks a lot. Does your office intend to seek remand, or are you reaching a bail package? And if you're willing, how would you contrast this with the R. Kelly case in EDNY in terms of the elements? Thanks.
So We will be seeking detention. We have filed a letter laying out our reasoning for seeking pretrial detention. I'm not going to be able to expand beyond what's in the letter, but it contains all of the reasoning, and it contains the law as well. There is a presumption of detention in a case like this, and we think that's warranted.
John Anise, New York Daily News.
Thank you. I was hoping to get some more detail about the searches of his residence, the guns, the
baby oil,
lubricant, and the videos. Where were they found amongst his residence? Were they all scattered around the houses in one place? I kind of wanted to just get a better picture of how that stuff was found.
Well, look, I think that some of the details that you're seeking are in the detention letter. So, for instance, some of the AR-15s, 2 of the 3 defaced AR-15s were found in his bedroom closet in Miami, broken down into parts along with magazines.
That's what I'm saying. Like shit was just in his room.
In them. So some of that detail is in the detention letter. Beyond that, I'm not going to be able to get into where other items were stored.
Benjamin Post.
Hey, thanks for doing this.
You leave the bullet on the scene and all
your
that.
Office was the office that had been prosecuting Jeffrey Epstein before he died in custody. I have not read your detention memo yet. It's the first thing I'm going to do after this ends. But does the memo address, or is your office concerned with Combs' safety in custody, given what happened with Epstein?
Wow. So we are concerned with anyone's safety whenever they are detained prior to trial. It's part of our obligations to keep people safe as well. It's part of the criminal justice system. So, but I do not draw any sort of connection between Jeffrey Epstein's suicide and what may or may not happen to any other defendant while they are detained pre-trial. And of course, the decision whether to detain the defendant will be up to a judge. Our position is that pretrial detention is warranted under the law and based on the facts of this case, and I'll leave it at that.
Are some of the prosecutors on this case some of the same prosecutors that had been handling that, or that worked on the Maxwell case?
Great question.
So I'm not going to get into the staffing. I will say that this team, this group of AUSAs, this incredible group has been working on this case around the clock, and they've had their hands full. Next question.
Gus Rosendale, NBC News.
Good morning, sir. Combs' attorney said that his client has been cooperative with investigators. He said that this morning. I was wondering if you would have a reaction to that.
Let me just say this. I think that generally and with increasing frequency, the word cooperative or cooperating has taken on tremendous elasticity, and it no longer really bears any relation to what the word means when we use it in a very specific context. So responding to lawful process and the like does not qualify as cooperation, and we use that term here.
Mike Sisak, AP.
To that end, was there any discussion of Mr. Combs surrendering? I understand he was taken into custody at a hotel in Manhattan last night, and maybe that wasn't the plan. Can you elaborate on how that came about and why that was?
I'm not going to be able to get into any sort of operational details as to how he was taken into custody and when. He is in custody right now. He will be appearing in court later today.
Was there any discussion of him surrendering, given they claim he's cooperating?
I'm not going to be able to get into law enforcement tactics or operations.
Got it.
If you need a big deal with the guns, how are they not charged outright or with obliterating suing? That's automatic.
Well, I can't get into the charging decision. It is very meaningful to us that weapons were possessed, as we allege in the indictment. Part of the reason why this conduct was so pervasive and harmful was because victims and others didn't necessarily feel comfortable denying him his wishes, as we allege, because of the presence of firearms. I should leave it there.
Thanks. Last question. Jacob Shamison.
Jacob Shamsian, Business Insider. Thank you. Given that he's the sole defendant in this case and that you allege he's part of a conspiracy that involves members of his companies, do you anticipate a superseding indictment that bring allegations against other members of his companies or other co-conspirators as well?
Again, I can't take anything off the table. Anything is possible. Our investigation is very active and ongoing. And I think a lot of you who cover this office know that when we say such things, that developments are certainly foreseeable, but I cannot predict them sitting here today. All right, thank you, everyone.
Thank you. What part of his business empire is exposed forfeiture?
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
All right, people. Great. So that is the official press conference. I do know there was an additional, area that was set up outside. Not too sure if, maybe any other authorities will get to this spot, that they'll be able to conduct something meaningful. Maybe some other questions could be asked. Yeah, I guess whoever the AP reporter is, they're just like, they only showed this one thing. Now, here's the thing, chat. I do have the documents here for you. It's actually slow to be updated, I guess, because he hasn't appeared in court yet, which I thought he actually did, but he hasn't. They kind of unsealed it, but not officially, where it's fully in the system where you can look up any federal case. So it's not in the site that I usually use, but the documents are available, right? I think directly through the clerk. We're going to read the whole indictment. I do want to skip ahead, and this is kind of jumping ahead here, because I think I'm going off my train of thought. The U.S. attorney said repeatedly there's certain things, more details that might not be in the indictment that's in the memo for detention. So essentially, there's a bunch of documents filed. Okay, here's the initial indictment, but we're also filing a memo for detention, hoping that the judge or the magistrate judge says, hey, we're going to deny bond, at least at this time, until, we'll reconsider maybe at a different point. I have that document, and before we do get into the indictment, I do want to explore the possibility of, could Diddy get out on bail, right? And also, it's going to give us some more details about what they're using, and what you're going to realize is, I think by now, either Cassie or the feds with Cassie leaked that video, because that video of Diddy beating Cassie in that hotel, it's actually it's referenced in a detention memo and the indictment. Okay? So let's do the math here. Like, it's clear the feds probably played a nasty game with Diddy. Probably was also trying to encourage more witnesses to come forward, right? Because when people seen that video, everybody backed up off Diddy, like, oh shit, never mind, it's not a witch hunt. This shit's true. So it kind of looks like, hold on. No, this is the wrong thing I pulled up. Sorry. What the fuck? Oh, I didn't put it on screen yet. So what I'm about to put up on screen is the detention memo. And this detention memo is supplementary to the indictment that essentially is going to spell out a few things that the prosecutor believes should keep Diddy in jail, right? Here we go.
The audio is all of my detailed audio as he was talking.
Okay, all right, now we can hear some more information. Here's the thing, though. So this was filed. This is a detention memo for Sean Combs, which means this is the prosecutor's attempt to try to make sure he's denied bail. Now, we went over this last night. Factors in determining bail, federal court. We came up with a list, right? And the list was seen as the defendant's flight risk, defendant's criminal history, severity of the alleged crime, defendant's ties to the community, employment status and financial resources, mental health and substance abuse history. There's other things that we're going to come into, the defendant's risk of reoffending, history of appearing in court, a lot of things, okay? Potential danger to the community or specific individuals, okay. Now, let's read this letter. It's 16 pages, right? It's actually longer than the indictment. So it says, Dear Judge, the defendant, Sean Diddy Combs, was taken into custody this morning after a grand jury sitting in this district returned a 3-count indictment charging him with crimes related to decades-long pattern of physical and sexual violence against multiple victims. His use of force, threats, coercion to enact his will, protect his reputation, to fulfill his sexual desires. That's going to be the nastiest and creepiest part of it, because they kind of literally just spell out Diddy as a guy using millions of dollars to get his fix sexually. Like just some deranged, decrepit type of creep who just needed by any means necessary to nut. You know what I mean? Which is, come on, right? The government respectfully submits this letter in anticipation of the defendant's appearance before this court later today and in support of the government's request for the defendant's detention pending trial. As set forth below, there is no condition or combination of conditions that will reasonably assure the appearance of the defendant as required and the safety of others and the community. Not to mention the integrity of the proceedings. As reflected by the gravity of the charges in the indictment, the defendant is dangerous and poses an ongoing threat to the safety of the community. If released, he remains a serious flight risk, despite the conditions offered by his counsel. By the way, clearly, they anticipate that Diddy's counsel offered something. So we're going to try to find what Diddy's counsel offered. Or, like, you know, maybe, I don't know if they would go with an official offering, but they probably just can make it a case that, yo, he's not a flight risk. He'll show up to court. He'll stay in New York or some shit like that, right? We'll see if we can find that document. All right. Most glaringly, the defendant also poses a significant risk to obstructing justice. Indeed, as set forth below, during the course of the charged conduct, which, by the way, we're going to get to that. I'll make a little note of it. I know a lot of people are saying, is he going to be charged for things he did in the 90s? By the way, one of these sex situations, right, with a 17-year-old, which I think a lot of people thought that was like the text. We talked about it last time, me and Myron. Textbook case of sex trafficking, right? You flew a 17-year-old underage girl from Pontiac, Michigan, to New York by your private jet, and supposedly she had sex with one of your employees there, and then you later on sex trafficking, right? Except we're gonna read the indictment. The indictment actually says they only started the racketeering conspiracy from 2008. So what he did in the 90s, including maybe the murder of Tupac Shakur, if he was ever involved, doesn't seem to be okay. So that's also very important to know for people who are okay. Cool. This is gonna be the thing that might keep him in jail. He has already tried to obstruct the government's investigation, repeatedly contacting victims and witnesses, feeding them false narratives of events, and as described in detail, there are simply no conditions that would ensure the defendant's efforts to obstruct and tamper witnesses will stop. The defendant, therefore, cannot overcome the statutory presumption in favor of detention. The court should order him detained. Okay? On September 17, 2024, an indictment returned by the federal grand jury. Okay.
Yeah, I heard that, John.
I'm trying to read the same thing twice. Okay, cool.
You fuck with young and
sex trafficking and abuse. Okay, most of this is gonna be in the indictment, so we'll just go through the indictment for that. What we should probably care about, and here we see the firearms, right? Even though I don't think that he was charged with a firearm crime, but the mere fact that there's illegal firearms around while other criminal acts have been going on, big problem, which the judge might factor in, right? Basically saying this guy is having an arsenal of illegal weapons while he's doing illegal shit, right? 59 rounds of .223 ammunition seized from his LA home. Obviously, that would be illegal. I don't know what the magazine capacity is in LA, but definitely you can't have no 59 rounds, okay? Not no damn drum, okay? In addition, 6 legally. Okay. So he did have more guns. 6 legal purchased guns with serial numbers. Some were stored in gun safes, were recovered. So they're saying they were legal guns, but clearly they're not mentioning the legal guns. They only show the illegal guns. Although these particular guns, both the legal and illegal firearms, were seized, their presence in the defendant's homes demonstrates the defendant has access to them, surrounds himself with both guns and ammunition. Likewise, if the defendant were personally restrained by the court from obtaining new firearms himself, he could retain access to them through others. In sum, the defendant's regular use of violence and threats of violence, as well as coercion described above, against the victims and others, fostered a culture of fear in which these individuals believed they were unable to reject the defendant's demands without subjecting themselves to physical violence
shit
or
right now,
abuse.
probably the baby.
Now, this is the
Whoa.
important part.
Where you from?
Him supposedly bribing witnesses.
Where you from again?
And supposedly interfering, right?
You
Throughout the
tripped
time
out
of the period
just
charged
now.
in the indictment, when
You
the defendant
tripped out
faced
just now.
the possibility that his
You
violent and
tripped
criminal
out.
conduct could become public.
You drunk off
The
that
defendant and
damn
other
bill.
members of the and associates of the enterprise pressured witnesses and victims
That boy
to
drunk
not
off that
report what
damn
they saw
bill.
or heard to law
Off that
enforcement,
damn bill.
or
Off
to
that damn
otherwise
bill.
conceal the criminal conduct. For example, as noted in March 2016,
The baby. You
passing
might as well
video
say
we all
Kurt
see.
Franklin. Shit.
The defendant was captured on video surveillance, striking and kicking and dragging a woman in a public area.
might as well say
of
Lil
a hotel
Tecca, shit.
in an apparent attempt to prevent her from leaving a freak off. A member of the
Lil
hotel security security staff intervened. The defendant attempted to offer the security staff a stack of cash to ensure silence after the security guard refused the bribe, and after coordination between the defendant and his employees, the defendant's staff contacted other members of the hotel security. At the same time, the staff members were in close communication with the victim of the assault as well, all in an effort to cover up the defendant's assault and prevent the incident from being publicly disclosed. Within days of the incident, surveillance video disappeared from the hotel's server. Mama. So who had the, if it disappeared from the server, who had the video? Because we've seen it now. Okay. Similarly, throughout the period charged in the indictment, members and associates of the enterprise have reached out to multiple victims on behalf of the defendant to convince them not to report the defendant's abuse. Most recently, in 2023, immediately following the public allegations of a certain defendant's crimes, including his physical and sexual abuse of women, the defendants and other members of the enterprise made repeated phone calls to victims and witnesses, during which they provided victims and witnesses with false narratives of events in an apparent effort to conceal the defendant's crimes. So basically, last year, Diddy was ringing up the phone, calling people who could be victims. On at least 2 occasions, the defendant recorded those calls. Oh, wow. He recorded the calls on a co-conspirator. Ooh, this is going to be big. It says a co-conspirator. Now, when you hear co-conspirator in an indictment, it doesn't mean they're going to be charged, because sometimes there is unindicted co-conspirators, but they're basically saying whoever this person is was helping Diddy cover up crimes. They're not a victim, okay? Because everybody's going to be like, I was only fucking them guys because Diddy told me to, or I only beat up that guy because Diddy told me to. I wasn't doing it because I wanted to. Diddy threatened me, he was going to kill me, so I had to go not kill them, but beat that person up, right? But they're saying this person's a co-conspirator, so this person was cognizantly helping Diddy. Anyway, thereby attempting to obscure his involvement in the instruction. So the government is investigation is ongoing, while the indictment against the defendant was on seal today.
Bro, I remember the baby was wearing a pamper, bro. When he first came on, I said, bro, why this nigga got a pamper on, bro? Like, that shit was like, when he first came up, he was begging for attention. Like, he used to do dumb shit. Like, I'm talking about, he was fiending for attention.
Investigation into his and other co-conspirators' conduct is active and ongoing. As a result of that ongoing investigation, as well as the defendant's charged conduct outlined above, including obstruction of justice and witness tampering, the government is limited in its ability to fully set forth all known details of his criminal conduct, including details of certain witness testimony. So they're saying there's witnesses who have told them about methods and means that Diddy has taken to try to cover up his crimes that they don't want to put right now in his detention letter, but probably is still an active part of the investigation they got going on and probably will be in the case, right? To the extent that the court has additional questions about the charged offenses or the charged offense conduct or any other information set forth herein, the government is prepared to proffer additional information on an ex parte basis. Wow. That's huge. We got to get a lawyer on here. I got to hit up Bradford Cohen. We need the top legal minds to break this down. You know, I'm only limited in certain scope of what I could break down, and basically they're telling the judge, we'll tell you on the side what the depth, or if you have questions about, you know, some of these things we're alleging, because we're not saying everything because our investigation's ongoing, we'll say it in an ex parte context. And again, you know, unlike the Young Thug case, this ex parte communication would not be seen and deemed as, as something that, is it has some Brady element, which means, you need to disclose to the other side, because this is about bail and the conditions of bail and what could be considered isn't the same level of, transparency as what you would expect in a trial. Now, if this was trial, it'd be very different. Man. But this is just so on bail. They're just saying, don't get this nigga bail. If you want to know why, we laid out some general shit. If you want to know the specifics, we'll come into your chambers or we'll do a sidebar. We'll tell you that. But don't tell Diddy, because that's probably, crucial to our current investigation, and we probably got more charges or maybe a superseding indictment. So that makes sense. So they start arguing some applicable law. They're using the Bail Reform Act, and they're basically just outlining that there is a lot of case law that matches up and actually co-signs their idea that Diddy should not be let out on bond. So let's go back to last night. We're talking to Myron, and when we're talking to him, primarily we said, well, look like Diddy's cooperative. And I said, at what point do you think this become uncooperative? And I mean uncooperative like he's like, I'm not gonna, and cooperative doesn't mean he's snitching, right? It just means they're communicating. Hey, we are investigating you, just to let you know. Hey, don't go too far. Hey, this grand jury proceeding might be wrapping up soon. Don't make it hard for us to find you. We shouldn't have to dispatch the marshals to come look for you under a rock. He's like, no, I'm not running. I'll come to New York. I'll make myself readily available. Maybe they've sat in for an interview session or two. Who knows? Here's the thing. Again, no matter how cooperative he's been, the prosecutors are still taking the stance. Yeah, he came to New York. Yeah, he's been quote unquote cooperative, but we still don't think he should be let out on bail. Keep in mind, all these cooperative things were to probably kind of have the prosecutors say to the judge, like, hey, he has been cooperative. We're going to, of course, put up a motion to oppose bail, but we're not going to go too hard. It looked like they're going pretty hard. And they're pretty much going as hard as saying, yo, he's trying to fuck up additional investigations we got going on, so definitely lock him up, right? So they go with dangerousness. They say he's charged with serious and violent crimes. It's charged in the indictment. I'm about to get some water. Can't lose my voice. Got like 9 hours to go. I got water here.
Oh, man.
Okay. So it says, as charged in the indictment, the defendant has physical and sexually abused women.
I see what you're saying, bro. I see.
And others for the better part of 2 decades. Now, that's the interesting part, because the indictment starts in, the RICO part of it starts in 2008, as they're looking at it. But they're saying for a better part of 2 decades. Well, actually, that's the better part. So since 2018, that'll be 16 years, right? Yeah, better part. Okay, cool. Better part of 2 decades. The sex trafficking charge based on the defendant's abusive conduct, count 2, carries with it a presumption of detention. Wow. And they're citing direct statutes here. And detention is particularly supported by the facts of the case. Since at least 2008, the defendant has engaged in serious acts of violence, including force and coercing women to participate in sexual activity, including sex acts with commercial sex workers.
No bullshit. Oh no, but it's a RICO. They say it's a lot of his employees, securities, what is called assistants. Like, they say he was using his organizations to do this shit. So there's a lot of people going down with him. Like, hella people. Like, this shit, bro, to get crazy. Like, them security guys thought they were doing something, telling their stories on Vlad and all that. Them niggas going down.
Wondering if the sex workers, I'm guessing so, right? There got to be a couple sex workers that are, witnesses, like, are working, right? Like, yo, we're going to testify like Diddy paid us to fuck Cassie. They could describe the room. This shit smell like KY jelly and a honey pack. It was no condoms. Niggas just had a cock ring, and the nigga was just in the corner with a fucking toothpick in his mouth, recording like he thought he was like on some, Steven Spielberg shit, and he was stroking his fucking cock, but he wasn't looking at Cassie, he was looking at me. Like, I'm pretty sure there's gonna be some sex workers that probably gonna say some shit like that, right? All right. Say commercial sex by use of physical force, financial pressure, emotional abuse, narcotics. These acts described above
Damn, it feel good to be caught
freak
up.
offs, among other names. It involved orchestrated
day.
sexual performances facilitated through drug use that sometimes lasted days at a time. Also, again, you're gonna realize that they also say, and I'm skipping ahead here, but I'm just giving you a little bit of notice. They will eventually say that Diddy is facing a mandatory minimum, right? A mandatory minimum.
Let's see. Let's do a little back. What you got? You said you don't think so. Since you saying you don't think so, I ain't got no choice but to go with I think so. I think they gonna let him out. I think both, but I can go with both. I got reasons for both, but I'm strongly going with the reason to let him out. I think the judge gonna let him out. Like, come on, he came all the way to New York to like, come on, bro. Let this nigga fight from the outside, dog. But then again, it's a serious case and he could tamper with shit, so they probably want to keep his ass away from everything.
I just want to click back on this to see what's going on. Diddy is facing a mandatory minimum. Okay, nothing has happened out here. Cool. All right, yeah. He's facing a mandatory minimum of 15.
And see, that's the reason why I think he ain't getting out. Because if he out, he can wiggle around and move around. I'm talking about go crazy, get crazy while he out. I'm talking about get niggas shook and some more shit. If he in jail, I find that'll take the pressure off a lot of victims.
Years, all the way to life. So it is very, very much possible that Diddy, I know last night people said I was trumping up, what he's facing. But I'll even go to it in this detention memo, which, again, that's going to be part of why they're going to want to detain someone saying, hey, yo, this guy is facing being incarcerated for the rest of his life. Like, I'll scroll down. It says 15 years. Let's see. Look, the risk of flight. Nor can a defendant overcome the presumption that he's a risk of flight. The crimes the defendant is charged with carry significant penalties, including a mandatory minimum sentence of 15 years imprisonment and a statutory maximum of life imprisonment. Now, we all know how it works on a federal level. If you get convicted on a federal level, there is only pretty much one way. You could go below what they have imposed as a mandatory minimum. And you got to get that 5K1 letter. You got to be snitching, right? Now, granted, if we're thinking that, they kind of levy him to be the head of this enterprise, so who could he snitch on? So if he can't snitch, if he gets found guilty on these things, right, even through a plea bargain deal, that's 15 years, right? 15 years, right? And again, remember, this is a mandatory minimum, which is why people are definitely scared of the feds, right? Like, they have imposed a lot of mandatory minimums that it doesn't really give to the judge discretion in what they think you should get. These are hard line mandatory minimums that could only be bypassed for a very small handful of reasons. One, the biggest and the most known one, is snitching, which is if a prosecutor writes what's called a 5K1 letter on your behalf at sentencing, it tells the judge you have cooperated.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, they go, Diddy done, bruh. Diddy's got to face it. Nah, AK do that shit.
Snitched. And that they could now bypass the mandatory minimum. Okay?
I could, but it ain't going to be like
that. That's going to be applicable here for Diddy? Who can he tell on? What is he going to tell on? Like some other mogul?
He be like
come on. We don't even see that happening. But maybe it's possible. But, let's be realistic, right? So if Diddy's facing minimum 15 years.
Is it?
Minimum. How old is Diddy right now? By the way, I'm keeping an eye on this. How old is Diddy? 54. In 15 years, he'd be, obviously you'd have to serve 85% federally. So 85% of 15 years, 85%.
Damn, brother, love.
If it's 10.
Hey, they gonna love Diddy in jail, bro. Like, what?
So if it's 10, it would be 4.
Nah, I got Diddy running the whole pod, though.
Quarter. So it's about 12, 13 years. Yeah, 13 years, actually. So
yeah, Diddy a fucking freak. He nasty. I want to know like what urged him to get so fucking freaky. Like what get him so horny like that? Like he's a horny ass nigga, bro. Like he's a hornball, boy. Like fucking freak. Like ew. Like what for real though? Think about like what make a nigga that nasty? Like nigga, like you that horny motherfucker. Like calm the fuck down.
Yeah, so
I can see Diddy right now smacking bitches and spitting in their mouth like shut up. Didn't like you wildin'.
If that's the case, again, obviously I'm going to worst case scenario because who knows? Maybe it beats the case, right? Maybe it beats the case.
Hell nah. Diddy about to run that. Diddy about to run that Joan, nigga. Come on, like Diddy, P motherfucking Diddy. Man, Diddy about to run the whole jail, even the section he ain't even in. He about to run the women part and all that. Like, Diddy ready to make the whole jump better. Like, this shit crazy. Like, bro got money, nigga. I don't even think a nigga understand the type of power Diddy can have in jail. Like, it's different. Diddy can have that different type of power in that jump, bro. If anything, it's gonna be the guards and shit that's treating him like shit. The inmates, nah, they gonna look at him like I'm trying to tell you. They gonna look at bruh like a lick. That money, they niggas gonna be trying to get cool with him if anything. What, Diddy in this bitch? Oh, we finna eat good the whole bed. Like, what is up?
But, if
hell
he gets
Tory Lanez in that bitch helping niggas out, trying to help niggas out with cases, putting money on niggas' books. I don't like to see niggas doing shit like that, man. But nah, all jokes aside, I got Diddy really turning up, making a change in that pot. No bullshit.
For minimum 15 years, he's 54. You get out in
imagine I'm in the pod playing spades, and when nigga get off the bus, nigga be like, but no, they got a little whatever they say. You look up, you see Diddy coming in the pod. Like, oh, shit's up. Like, nigga, Diddy in the pod, bitch. What? Man, it's gonna be turned. I wouldn't even, like, think, like, who gonna beat the Diddy up, nigga? Come on.
13 years, he'll be 67.
You got a billionaire
right?
in the pod, nigga.
Like,
what up,
could you
Diddy?
get out at 67?
You really fucked them bitches, Diddy? You did that shit for real? Like, man, Diddy'll be that nigga in that joint.
You know, order another batch of baby oil and cock rings and, you know what I mean, get the free calls back popping at, you know.
People that's thinking he gonna have a hard time delusional as fuck. Man, Diddy ready to be in that joint telling all type of stories about Biggie. You know, niggas love Biggie. Like, niggas about the, man. Diddy good, man. He good. Even though his crime's bad as hell, he's still good. Like, real shit. Imagine Diddy popping up in your pod, nigga. Nigga, R. Kelly ain't even have a bad time. R. Kelly singing to the inmates and shit.
69 or 67 or whatever? Maybe, right? I don't know if the money's going to be hitting the same, right? You know, I think the financial discussion, I'm going to see if I could...
He good.
There's a few people I want to get on. For a criminal level, I want to get on Bradford Cohen. I'm gonna contact him. I'm gonna try to get him on today or maybe tomorrow. Bradford Cohen, actually, let me see if I can break it down. I would love for him. I know he's probably...
I'm talking about... Bro can go to Angola. They could send bro to any prison. No bullshit. San Quentin, Angola. He good.
Down today, and also he's not like just a media guy. He's a actual attorney, so he got his own cases. But let me hit him up.
They can send that nigga to Alcatraz. That nigga good.
To kind of break this down. I would love for him to break this down. I would also like for maybe an attorney or, you know, I don't know if it's a financial expert I should probably go to. We got to figure out how Diddy, like, what would be the advisable thing to do if you're Diddy, a guy with allegedly a net worth of hundreds of millions of dollars, now facing life imprisonment. Also, you have your financial opportunities cut Obviously, he's selling a couple of homes. He's liquidating a few things, but how does this work out financially? By the way, I'll show you this, which we'll get to it in the indictment. Where's the indictment? So this is a detention memo. We got the indictment here. Let me just keep looking over here to make sure nothing's going on.
That were overly too funny.
All right, we see a little bit of movement here. These are the federal officers right here. So we're waiting for somebody to get on. Pause. No Diddy. Here's the indictment. What you're going to see in the indictment, and I know I'm all over the place, but I hope you're following a little bit. The government is talking about forfeiture, and they're also talking about, and they're also pushing forth to say he could forfeit some assets if he can't pay it, or if he's transferred. I'll read it real quick.
Nah, nothing like boom.
Forfeiture allegations of committing these offenses. They're saying, according to he should forfeit to the United States.
I'm in the window light.
Any interest that the defendant acquired or maintained. Okay. He should forfeit any. Look, here we go.
According to Title 18,
forfeit any and all property.
Hell no.
Real and personal. Involved in, used. So they're saying if you had a freak off at your $60 million crib, we want to used it for illicit crimes. By the way, we see this obviously with drug dealing, right? So like, if you got a car, you got a Charger, and you're using the fucking Charger to transfer, move coke around the U.S. You know what I mean?
I was a young nigga before. I was 18 right there too.
Or if you had a bando,
I was
right? Like
wildin'
you use your grandma's house as the stash house. They might go for forfeiture to get to own your grandma's house because that's where the drugs was being stored, and they're saying that that place was being used.
We didn't say have guns and we just went on
this either
with the guns and stuff.
Or obviously to continue crime. So
niggas was down to fight around my time. We just made that stage where it was just getting off that stage where niggas still fight. You had your niggas that was on that other shit, but I made that cut to where, nigga, you can still get your ass whipped and make it home alive. Like, that shit over with now.
They are looking forward to possibly, possibly try to either, and you're going to see, they're going to say, we want maybe some injunctive shit to stop any property sales, that he don't try to liquidate shit, or,
I'm glad I can't go, nigga. I done reached the age limit. You better put your boots on, young nigga.
Diddy might be like, yo, I'm about to put everything in my daughter's name or my mama's name, and they're trying to stop that too. Look, so real or personal involved in or using or intended for the use of commit or facilitate the commission of said offenses, and any property traceable to such, any and all property traceable to such property, and in all property, real or personal, blah, blah, blah. Are they saying the same thing like twice? Okay. Then they said, and in all property constituting or derived from the proceeds obtained, they're saying that if he made money from freak offs and bought a spot, they want that too, right? They're using Title 18 a lot. Cool. If we get to here, they says if any of the above forfeitable property,
everybody's gonna start chasing.
Go down for real estate as an act of, if any of the above described forfeitable property
on your ass
as a result of any act or omission of the defendant cannot be located upon the exercise of due diligence, has been transferred or sold to or deposited with a third person, has been placed beyond the jurisdiction of the court, has been substantially diminished in value, or has been commingled with other property which cannot be subdivided without difficulty. It's in the intent of the United States to seek forfeiture of the property of the defendant up to the value of the forfeitable property. So basically, if they're like, you have a property that has 5 other people's names and then we can't really subdivide it and get whatever interest out of it we need, we could try to get that interest from somewhere else, which, shit, they're trying to cook this nigga, bro. God damn. Again, we're still waiting. This is live outside of the courthouse. I don't know exactly who we're waiting for, but we do see the mic set up here. I don't think the U.S. Attorney Office would be out here. No, not the office. I don't think the U.S. Attorney, Damian Williams, would come out here and do the same thing he just did in there. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, that's the top dog that just spoke, so. He showed the women, and we all seen the women that was standing next to him, right? Some of these people supposedly are the prosecutors. Like, and you know, it's very important to note if these are the people who are going to be working on the case. Once I seen this shit, I said, damn. If you charge with sex trafficking, the last 6 people or 7 people, no, 6 people you want to see is a pregnant Becky, a old Karen, and these are the 4 people right here. These are the worst. You don't want to see them. Hell no.
Especially the pregnant one.
Cooked. You got to realize, and he said it. So, by the way, if you think this U.S. attorney, just like Fonnie Willis, will not be in court, who you're going to see in court are these people. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, this nigga, he just came for the press conference, chuck his deuce up, you know what I mean, get his clout points and level up in his ascension to, hopefully he probably is trying to get to U.S. Attorney General or some shit, right? But, yeah, he's like, all right, I'm gonna be the nigga who get Diddy. All right, nigga, see y'all. But these white women are going to be prosecuting and be involved in dealing with this case. And these Caucasians right here spells nothing but fucking trouble, man. Okay? All right, they're still waiting. They're still setting the mics. We don't know for what. Do not know for what. But something clearly is going to happen here. Okay? Oh, wow. Wow. Give me 1 second, by the way.
You skip this right here.
Ooh.
And try to influence witnesses.
Hey, you would think he's the most happiest in the world. Diddy's gotten indicted. You know what I think it is? I think, and I could be wrong. We'll see how 50 plays this. Number 2 things. 50's going into a new, path in his career. He's getting shown a lot of love culturally, but even from like place like Louisiana, Shreveport, they're showing him a lot of love. I don't think he want to go there on some petty, super toxic shit. I think he wants to show that he's a little bit mature, grown up, and maybe that's scaling back.
He ain't say, but he ain't
some
say.
Of the Instagram antics. But still, 50 usually never changes, so I'm not banking on that being a thing. The other thing I would say why he hasn't made
pulled up on it. That's how closely held this was going into it. So, but the fact that they have this evidence they got.
Okay. Let me bring this also information to light. I just seen it. I have a different computer down here, so I'm looking at some stuff while I'm playing that. This is also interesting. This is what the U.S. attorney was talking about when he said there's a little bit more info about, and I wrote notes on it about the arson. There's a statute of arson, or a crime of arson that's under the Racketeering Act. And it's actually addressed. It's not really detailed in the indictment.
Hopefully.
But on page, what page is this? On page 4 of the detention letter, right? You'll see it here. The defendants. Is it this? No. Wait. Let me just make sure. No. This isn't the. Yeah. Am I looking at the same thing? My bad. I'm using 2 different computers. I'm sorry. Yeah, this is page 3. Okay, page 3, page 2, page 3. Sorry, chap. Cool. All right, so this was the... Oh, yeah, page 3 is here. I'm sorry. Okay. It says, for example, early in the morning, so this is about other violence. It says, in addition to the defendant's physical, sexual, emotional abuse of his romantic partners, the defendant repeatedly engaged in acts of violence directed towards his employees and others. As charged in the indictment, the defendant, often assisted by members and associates of his enterprise, engaged in kidnapping, arson, physical violence such as throwing objects at people, throwing people to the ground, hitting, dragging, choking, shoving others. Numerous witnesses, including the defendant's employees and others, observed and experienced violence from the defendant firsthand and sustained lasting trauma as a result. For example, in the early morning hours of December 22, 2011, the defendant and a co-conspirator kidnapped the individual at gunpoint to facilitate breaking into and entering. But somebody got kidnapped. They kidnapped someone to get into the residence of individual 1. Now, the importance of them calling the person individual 1. This isn't, we don't know if that person's a victim. I don't know if they would normally call the person victim 1, but individual 1 just seems like, okay, maybe somebody not a victim or a co-conspirator. Anyway, multiple witnesses will testify, or would testify at trial to the events surrounding the kidnapping and break-in. the latter of which is corroborated by police reports and other records. Ooh, who got kidnapped? Chat, search the blogs. Everybody search the blogs right now. Well, obviously probably didn't make the blogs, but there's a police report.
Who got
There's a
kidnapped?
police report, right? So December 22nd, 2011. We're gonna figure out who was he trying to break into that person's house. Let me go to
Wale.
I know YouTube gonna have some information for me. They said Diddy was armed with he was armed with 5 bottles of baby oil. No, I'm playing. That's a joke.
It sounds like the Wale situation.
Yeah, I think that's Kim Porter. Some people say that's Cassie. Now, well, here's the thing. Approximately 2 weeks later, the defendants, that's Kid Cudi. Got him. Kid Cudi, chat. Approximately 2 weeks later, the defendants' co-conspirators set fire to individuals' vehicle by slicing open the car's convertible top and dropping a Molotov
Okay, I was almost
cocktail
close. Because they put everything in this indictment that they seen on the internet. Like, he say, she say shit. But now they got to prove it.
Inside the interior, police and fire departments reports extensively document the arson and conclude that the fire was intentionally set. Multiple witnesses will also testify to the defendant bragging about his role in destroying his individual's car. Wow. He was about to kill that nigga Kid Cudi. Yo, Kid Cudi, niggas think you gay. Yeah, you can't be fucking my bitch. Get that. Let me not co-sign none of Diddy's action. That's crazy. That is crazy. That's crazy.
That's stupid.
Oh,
bro.
my God. Yo, this court case is going to be a movie. Now, let me read this once again. Multiple witnesses will testify at trial to the events surrounding the kidnapping and break-in. So, is the witness maybe, because remember it says, look, the defendant, so Diddy and a co-conspirator. So they're saying Diddy was damn near there. So Diddy and somebody else. Oh, they call the person a co-conspirator. Never mind. Yeah. So the person ain't snitch on Diddy. They call him a co-conspirator. Yeah. Well, we think they ain't snitch because they could still be called a co-conspirator and still told, right? But individual one, chat, write this down. Individual one is Kid Cudi. Wow. Okay. So the arson, so basically he's getting charged, part of the RICO, and again, we're going to get to the indictment. Part of the RICO, as I mentioned, is one of the things under there is multiple acts of, no, not multiple acts. You're going to see arson. Where's arson? Arson. Arson. Oh, multiple acts of arson. Yes. So these are one of the things that are underneath the racketeering conspiracy, which means this dumbass nigga Diddy is getting charged for trying to intimidate Diddy's side dude. Okay, cool. I'm guessing he would probably be in cuffs, even though I still can't even. They're gonna his business is to intimidate, threat, keep it, and seize that judge. Again, his indictment was unsealed, which means that his lawyers know what charges he has. They're gonna be read to him at his first appearance. They're gonna apparently try to get bond, but there's already a memo filed to heavily oppose bond. Like this is a pretty, again, the memo to oppose bond is 16 pages. The indictment is 14 pages. You get what I'm saying? This is the memo to oppose bond. This is the indictment, right? Okay. I'm gonna play a little bit more of this, and then we're gonna. Oh no, this is what I wanted to get to. This is how disgusting they kind of set this shit up. In terms of when they start describing the freak off, keep in mind
things that's going to make it extremely difficult if.
Okay, I'll get back to what that gentleman is saying. Let me read through this, which is important. So this is what the government detention letter was trying to counteract. Okay, so this is a letter from the lawyer Agnifilio Intrater, which that might be another lawyer or it might be a joint law firm. Anyway, it says, "Dear Judge Tafornsky, Mr. Sean Combs, through his counsel, submits this letter to the court for release on certain specific or specified conditions. Yesterday evening, he was arrested on an indictment charging him with the following offenses. For these reasons, below, we ask this court to release Mr. Combs pursuant to our proposed bail package. This letter offenses knowing so that home could be used to secure anybody when they come to New York, or did they already surrender their passport? We're still saying, I guess, like third time, This is before the search. I could imagine this is a way to, you got to imagine Diddy's mind is probably going absolutely bonkers, right? Like, this is the dude to be in possession of his passport. Over the past several months, there have been several, when he traveled back to Miami via charter aircraft, they once, last night, counsel.
All right, and that one right here, man. Y'all go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. Y'all have a blessed one. See y'all on the next video.